Tonight, let's talk about Ambessa Medarda. Let's talk about her deep love for family. Let's talk about her deep understanding of what love feels like. Let's talk about her intellect. And let's talk about why that's going to be her downfall. And let's certainly start off with the fact that, yes, Ambessa does indeed love her family. I do not think you can question that. And I don't think it's fair to say that she loves violence or she loves war, right? Consider the fact that the reason that she beheads the captured princess in Mel's flashback isn't out of cruelty, but out of desire to prevent another war. A war that could endanger her family. See, just like Vander and Vi, Ambessa is a protector. Unlike Vander and Vi, she has no compunction about violence. And that's just a reflection of her experience. A knife is a tool, but the more blood it spills, the less it belongs in a kitchen. Choosing to use something for violence makes it better and better at being used for violence, right? Vi and Vander treat violence as a last resort in their protection, because as soon as they do use it, they know they'll have to use it again. Ambessa's them, she's just crossed that line too many times. And there's certainly an interesting point there, right? Tying back to my previous videos about Vi as a protector, Jinx as a protector, the theme of the show. And in that the choices they make to protect the people they care about, they have in turn hurt the people they care about. What separates Ambessa from the sisters is that she doesn't seem to hold any guilt over that. But there's her intellect in play, right? Ambessa is smart enough to understand that guilt does nothing to aid in her protection. Saying something like Ambessa doesn't feel love or doesn't understand love makes no sense when you realize that if she didn't, there's simply no way she would have been able to manipulate Caitlyn like she did. See, remember that at first, Ambessa was planning to take over the council via Salo. She didn't choose Salo because he was the best option. She chose Salo because he was the easiest target to work her way in and the easiest one to string along. She was plotting with him to work with all the upper families of the city to get him installed as this military dictator. Which, it's Salo. That was going to be way harder in the long run, but she would have an in and control over the person installed and could still manipulate him in the meantime. He was extremely powerful. That was her plan anyway, until Salo drops the bomb that the Kiraman name bewitches and ensnares the mind. Instantly, she changes tack. She realizes that she has an in on Caitlyn via the loss of her mother. She knew that she could portray a motherly figure, at least in some regard, and Caitlyn would be looking for one. Easy in. But Ambessa is also brilliant and understood that that was not a long-term solution to controlling Caitlyn. No, when Caitlyn came down to the sewers with the council and announced the strike team, Ambessa immediately realized that she had to be a lot more cautious about how she played her. Caitlyn's not Salo, a fool with an oversized ego, so how do you play someone like that for a longer game? Do you remember following the fight at the memorial that Ambessa is watching Vi with this kind of weird leer? See, Ambessa's ever the chessmaster. Whenever she walks into a new situation, she immediately tries to understand what all the pieces are and what they do. Think about how the first thing she did when she came to Piltover was arrange the meeting in the bathhouse with Jace so she could see how he would react to a uncommon situation. And there's simply no way at the time she could have understood the significance of her recognizing the relationship between Kate and Vi. Now, I will bet that once she understood that Caitlyn was going to be her target, she probably was making plans to wedge herself between Kate and Vi. And then an opportunity just fell into her lap when the Hellfire Squad returned from the Undercity without Vi. Another opportunity presents itself, lucky again. Though Caitlyn is teetering, she's vulnerable. How does Ambessa pounce on this? By providing the one thing Caitlyn always wants. A challenge. Ambessa recognized that if she could keep Caitlyn isolated and constantly dangle challenges just out of Caitlyn's ability to grasp, she could keep her thinking about that and not about anything Ambessa was doing. Consider their sparring match, right? Caitlyn is not unadept at physical combat, and she gets a one-up on Ambessa, scratching her cheek. You might think Ambessa got mad about it, and that's why she hit Caitlyn with that combination. No, she hit Caitlyn with that combination to remind Caitlyn that she wasn't good enough. Because if you tell Caitlyn she's not good enough, the next thing she's going to do is obsess about it. She did, however, constantly praise Caitlyn's intellect and decision-making, something Cassandra didn't really do. But in comparison to familial love, bonds of blood, Ambessa doesn't respect romantic love. Ambessa sees romantic love as a pawn to be sacrificed, or perhaps more accurately a queen in chess terms. The implication of what Ambessa says to Kate during their sparring match is that the greater the sacrifice, the greater the strength you gain from it. And if the choice is between blood ties and emotional ones, well, Ambessa knows which one is on her chopping block. And that is exactly why she doesn't see what happens coming. Because it's not like she didn't understand the depth of relationship between Kate and Vi. If she didn't, she would never have been able to bait a hook for Kate following their falling out. No, Ambessa was totally caught off guard because, in her mind, the blood tie that Caitlin had to her mother was far, far stronger than any tie that she could possibly have to Vi. Because if Ambessa, for 1 second, had ever respected romantic love the same way that she respected familial blood ties, she never would have let Vi come into that tent, because in one simple pet name, Vi took down an entire military dictatorship. Without Caitlin under her thumb, she's got no legitimacy to the control of Piltover. Now, mind you, this is before Act 3. I'm pretty sure Act 3 is going to be Ambessa trying a military takeover next, right? It's not like she wasn't prepared, but just for a second imagine. Going through months and months and months of rigorous, convoluted planning to avoid this military takeover and to use your masterful knowledge to outwit your enemy, only to have it all completely undone by one butch from Hot Topic and a pet name.